Yo. We'll give you a few seconds. Have I got water, dude? Thank you. Are you drinking my water? Steal my water?
I stole it. It's behind you. We're gonna give you just a couple of minutes, guys.
Couple of minutes for people to tune in. This is exciting. This is essentially my very first podcast. I'm going to start this off, episode 1, MDTV, Motivational Dude TV. And it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about it. I've got a little bit of nerves, so I'm ready to rock and roll. We're just going to wait for everyone to get involved. Aye, guys. Should just be a few more minutes just before we begin.
If you can inform them that they can watch the episode in 2 groups, in your group and highest possible expression.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
So basically.
Hi Catherine, hi babe. That's my girlfriend saying hello. There's quite a lot of people joining in. We've got Tanya joining in as well. We're actually going live on 2 channels at the moment. So we're on my channel, we're also on Ehab's channel, Highest Possible Expression. So we've got quite a lot of viewers coming in each end. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we may as well just get started. You up for this, dude?
Let's do it.
Let's do this. Okay, so as I said, this is MDTV episode 1. This could be the foundation for something really cool. I hope so. So here goes. I'm going to introduce my very first guest. He is the man who made me cry a few weeks ago. He is one of the most cool and calm customers I've ever came across. He is also at the same time one of the most present and energetic people I have met in my entire existence. He is, without a doubt, just a super cool guy. He is a coach, a PhD researcher on the topic of leadership, and he is the founder of Highest Possible Expression Teaching. Without further ado, this is my man, Ehab. How you doing, dude?
Good, how are you?
I'm so happy it's you that you're the first person that I'm interviewing.
Actually, I'm so happy, I'm so thrilled to have you as the first person. And I have told people, like, this is not scripted or something, we're just doing something to grow from the heart. So
Ehab's just saying that this is not scripted, it's a completely raw podcast, a completely live feed. There is no script. We do have a couple of questions and a topic that we're going to talk about, but essentially it's just all flow and no stop, all go. So the thing that we were talking about was the introduction, and Ehab literally did make me cry a couple of weeks ago. He was doing one of his coaching techniques on me and it was phenomenal, and I'm not a guy who cries that often, but he got me bubbling. But it was a worthwhile and good bubble, and sometimes we need to cry more to cry less and really uncover emotional trauma or blockages and limitation, and that's something we'll talk about later on. But anyway, just before we get into this, I wanted to say that I couldn't pronounce Ehab's surname, and I don't know if you've ever saw, I think it's the movie with Adam Sandler, Big Daddy. And the little boy, he tries to say the word caterpillar, and he can't say caterpillar, he says a caterpillar, and that was me trying to say Ehab's surname. It sounds like Harmony, but I still Harmarneh.
I go with it's actually Harmarneh, but Harmarneh is fine.
It sounds like either Harmony or Hermione from.
We'll stay with the first name.
Right. So you get it, Ehab. Yeah. Okay, so we've introduced Ehab, and the topic of discussion is how to unlock your highest possible expression. Now that phrase, unlocking your highest possible expression, sometimes doesn't resonate with most people because it's not quite a common phrase to be used. Yeah. So I think for the purposes of this discussion, it's probably best that we just make it how to unlock your most genuine self. So that's what we're going to speak about. And throughout the conversation, we'll be bringing up things like how to unlock your most genuine self, how to overcome self-limitation, how to get motivated and stay motivated, sustain motivation. We're going to look at presence, energy, blockages, a whole lot of super cool stuff. And I can't wait, because this is an opportunity for me to sit back, ask questions and learn and just hear more about your story, because Ehab and I met a number of months back, and we are like that now, believe it or not. Hence why he's here, and I'm thrilled he's the first person I'm going to be speaking to on this podcast. So I think we just get into it and we talk about, first and foremost, what is highest possible expression, or what is your highest expression of your most genuine self? How did that come about?
Yeah.
Please tell us.
Well, first, thank you, Ross, and thank you for everyone listening. And the term actually highest possible expression, it has a nice story. We'll leave it just for after a while. But all in all, what highest possible expression is as simple as between all the possibilities of what you can be, between all the possibility of how you can express yourself, you choose the highest moment to moment. And it's not something you do once or twice. It's more like a yoga. So you can't just do yoga and expect you have to be like you have the healthiest body and mind ever. It has to be continuous choice over and over. So people usually talk about true self or genuine self, and that's what highest possible expression. Find that place where you find your most genius, most expressive, most truthful self. That place that's not conditioned by culture, that's not conditioned by belief, that place that's from the heart. And essentially, that's what everyone is looking for, Ross.
Okay, phenomenal. So, just to clear, Ehab is just talking about you call highest possible expression, your most genuine self, your most authentic self. I would just call it being you, the truest, fullest form of you possible. Other people call it your hidden genius, your inner warrior, whatever resonates with you. We're just going to be talking about that. So, you take your interpretation of that and roll with it. So, you mentioned there culture.
Yes.
Culture is something that stands out to me because I am from a completely different culture. So different worlds, different cultures, and we've had many discussions about this. So I'm from Glasgow, and you're from Jordan, but you're from a smaller city in Jordan called Madaba. Madaba. I got that right, Madaba. So Ehab's from Madaba. Can you tell me a little bit about Madaba? And then maybe contrast the cultures between Madaba and Glasgow and your experience of Glasgow.
I will tell you that. And actually, I think I'm going to tell you more about my story to understand the whole picture, how culture really programs people and limits people. I'm not saying there's something wrong or right. Actually, I don't operate from that place of right and wrong anymore. But I can share with you how culture can limit your possibilities. So being from Jordan and living in UK for a while and just going around the world, I can tell you that basically behind our cultural beliefs, we are one. We have the same motives, we have the same desire to love and to be loved and to express our truth and to make a difference and to have a meaning in our life. So all the cultural belief that usually we mistaken to be like ultimate truth, like biblical context, and we forget that it's just more about programming. Things that you've been told, your parents been told, it doesn't really have a ground, scientific ground, or it doesn't have like a spiritual ground to it. It's just thoughts. But once we buy into it, those thoughts become the driver for our reality. And in most cases, we lose ourselves in the way. So I can share with you like my story and how that's happened, and how to break free from that culture, if that's something you're interested to listen in.
100%. Just before we get into this, can everyone just let us know that you can hear us okay, that the sound is on point? If you can give us some love, a little thumbs up, whatever works for you. Also on your channel as well, we've got some people watching. Ehab, can you guys hear us okay?
Yeah, actually, they're giving the thumbs. So
thumbs up, everyone can hear okay, cool. So we're going to talk about Ehab's journey, give a little context, and he's going to talk about how culture can actually influence and limit your highest possible expression or your most genuine self.
Yeah.
Go for it.
The thing is, it's funny, my story, I never ever thought that I'm going to be in that place. Like if you told me just 6 years ago that I will be talking about that stuff, I will be just, come on.
Don't bullshit me.
That's absolutely crazy. And it's funny that just finding myself now here. Now what happened with me, I was living a very, you might call it traditional lifestyle. So if you're from Jordan, people from Jordan, usually what they do, if they get good marks in school, they study engineering, medicine, pharmacy, like those are the stuff that are common. And that's what the cultural programming I'm telling you about. It's not about what you like, it's about what you've been conditioned to get. So being part of the culture and having that need for acceptance, I did that. I studied engineering. I didn't like medicine, so engineering was the only choice I can go with. So I finished engineering, and like everyone, to be honest, I can say I was miserable. But funny enough, sometimes we don't even think that we live miserable life, because that's we think what life is. That's how everyone is living, without realizing that this is a conditional, miserable life. Now, I wasn't like, I didn't have core challenges like I was broke or something. That wasn't my story. Actually, I lived just a decent life like everyone else. But again, if I want to look at it, it was miserable. Now, what happened after 2 years of graduation and working in engineering, I was visiting my friend in Germany. And through some mystical, you might call it mystical circumstances, a girl ended up at my friend's place. Like, she had to stay at my friend's place. There was something, her friend just missed her flight, something like that. But I know now it was like meant to be. Now that girl, for some reason, she started talking about consciousness and life and spirituality, things I never ever heard before.
Yeah.
And I thought, how come, like, living 23 years and never been told about that stuff, although studying all the engineering stuff for 5 years. And that moment, I knew that what she said really rang a bell in my heart. I knew that, you know, when you hear something, you know the truth of it, but you just have no idea what happened. It was one of those aha moments. Now, funny enough, I got back to Jordan and I started searching for what she said, like consciousness and stuff like that.
What were the words, what were the things she was talking about, to kind of sum it up for the people? Could you give maybe 3-4 concepts or words, buzzwords that she mentioned that kind of resonated with you?
Sure. What I remember, she was talking mainly about consciousness. So that's the word that really picked up in my mind. And I remember going to the work, just flipping the laptop the other way around and pretending that I'm working. Don't do that. And I was just only searching for that. I just couldn't get my head out of it. Now, what was coming, always Eckhart Tolle. Yeah. Now, funny enough, we both know how successful or like how powerful he is as a spiritual leader. I thought he's just a cool blogger by that time. Like, this blogger has a nice quotes. So I was searching and searching, and just in the midst of that, probably after a week, I was walking in the mall. And while walking in the mall, and just bear in mind, back that time, I never read a book in my life. And again, that's part of the cultural program.
Not one book?
No, not ever, other than the studying book, never school book.
Wow.
So it wasn't something unusual. Most people in my city, it's not like a culture that's conducive for reading.
I can express the exact same. The only books I've ever read were magazines filled with BMWs and boobs up until I was about 23, and again, funnily enough, like you, I started exploring.
Yeah, so that's what happened. So basically, the idea that looking to a bookstore, it wasn't part of the map of my consciousness. Like, I won't even look there.
Yep.
But for some reason, Russ, that time, I looked to the right, and there was that book, The Power of Now. And I saw Eckhart Tolle, and literally, and some people might think that, oh, that's fine, something literally pulled me there. I was pulled there, paid the book, stopped the shopping, got back home, and I started reading, and remember tears flowing from my cheek.
Wow.
And what really struck me in the book, the idea that you are not your thoughts. So I was thinking, like, all the thoughts that I've been told, that's just thoughts. And I guess that's what most people don't realize, that it's a thoughts. Now, from there, just a whole new journey opened up to me, opening like self-growth, spirituality, traveling to Thailand with monks, working with shamans, coaching. So from there, things will lead to anything. So I got fully all in. And highest possible expression came after probably 4 years of that intense research and intense teaching and intense diving deep into that path of truth, or path of the hero, if you want to call it.
So were you, prior to finding the buzzword consciousness, let's just say, prior to becoming sort of somewhat enlightened and gaining a sense of clarity, were you seeking? Let's call it seeking.
Yeah.
Were you looking for anything? Did you experience any pain that maybe motivated you to seek and search, or you know, start grasping new concepts or becoming more adventurous, or was it just that one moment with that mysterious chance meeting with that girl that kind of elevated and opened you up?
Yeah, correctly. Well, just let me tell you, I'm not enlightened.
No.
That's for sure, because it's a journey of enlightenment.
There's forms of enlightenment.
Yeah, there's a journey. So I would say it's funny you're asking that question, and I think it's very powerful. If you asked me back that time that I was in pain and searching, I would say no. But probably looking back to my life, I was in tremendous pain of just seeking acceptance from people, not finding my true self, not being respected. I didn't have let's call it a decent life. I was always disrespected. I was like the guy that's easy to be bullied, easy to be picked on. I had abuse when I was young. So probably back that time, that pain was coming to the surface, and I can see now that it was the gift that cracked open that understanding. So probably that pain was the motivator for me even to go to Germany and to meet that girl. So that pain, maybe probably it was the...
It was dormant, it was lying dormant, but somehow it was poisoning your body, and it was a thing that was directing you, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. So only when I started growing from that pain and turning it into wisdom, you might say, I start realizing the value of it, and I start realizing how much pain I was in without realizing it. And actually that's what I see people. The average person in the society, with all respect, they're living in pain. But they don't realize it. They don't realize they are programmed because they think that's what life is. But that's not what life is. You can live, you can open up to limitless potential that you never even knew that it exists in you.
What do you think? I mean, I share those sentiments, and I truly believe the majority of humanity are walking about with their blinkers on. There's this limitless possibility, this other life. I've been in that kind of caged, uncomfortable space. I've reached the space of comfort, but now I would say that my life is more charged, caged, comfortable, charged, and we kind of float in between those stages. But we ultimately want to kind of live charged for most of our life and most of our existence. So if the majority of the populace are living kind of caged and comfortable, what do you think the reasons are that prevent people from pushing through that barrier to that more charged, conscious, that more expressive side of themselves?
I would say it's very simple. It might sound like a cliche, but it is that. It's fear. It's as simple as fear. And the fear I'm talking about is not just the fear you get like when you want to do a public speech. I get that fear. Everyone experiences that. It's not that kind of fear. I'm talking about the fear of challenging your cultural beliefs, the fear of letting go beliefs that you've been holding so intimately to yourself without realizing it. And those beliefs could be something like, I'm not good, I don't deserve, what else? I can't do that. Like all that cultural belief, the self-image that's been fed into your mind, the fear of letting it go, although it's creating suffering, because we fear what will happen without those beliefs. We both know that, Ross, if you hold intimately into something, even if it's so painful, you get used to it. And it's easier to keep holding to that fear or to keep holding that pain other than opening up to uncertainty. But that's the trap. That's the biggest trap. That's why people feel comfortable where they are, but they don't like where they are. And the reason they don't change it, because comfort means safety in their mind. And if you want to break that, you need to step back into more courageous state. You need to take courageous action. And courage comes out of that. So you don't need to be courageous to take action. You need to take courageous action to generate more courage. And I would say that's the number one limitation. Just going with the herd consciousness, doing what everyone is doing. But I really want people to realize, if you do what everyone is doing, you will get the same results that everyone is getting. And what those results are, I don't want to sound bleak, but in most cases it's suffering and limitation. And just look to the average person in their culture, they're not really awakened or they're living their highest possible expression. Most cases, they live in that. So the fear of breaking that cycle and saying, you know what, that's it, I'm done. I don't want to do what my parents did. I don't want to follow what my family did. I don't want to follow what my culture did. Not just out of a rebellious, like a ignorant rebellion spirit, but out of a place of I want to be genuine. I want to live my heart. I want to follow what matters to me. I want to follow that creative impulse.
So on that note,
can I have just some water, please?
of course. So on that note,
Yeah.
there you go.
Thanks.
On that note, we're talking about limitation. We're talking about beliefs. So just to clarify, a belief is something that you hold to be true, absolutely true. But more often than not, beliefs have no objective place in reality, and beliefs are the very things that drive our behaviour and paint the way we see the world.
Yeah.
Now, on that note, what was your probably number one most limiting belief, and how did that manifest itself?
Yes. Well, I would say tell you just not my number one belief. I would tell you probably the number one belief in everyone's life.
Okay.
And it's as simple as that. I am not enough. Now there's a huge, like many versions of it. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not valuable. I'm not loved. All that comes back to I am not enough.
It's negative, disempowering
Yeah.
discourse.
And that belief basically, Ross, if you're holding that feeling of I am not enough,
Yeah.
what you're gonna expect life will matter for you? Limited possibilities.
Yes.
Because you're gonna think that if someone is rich, someone is enlightened, someone is successful, that's out of you. You're not enough to have that. You're not valuable. You don't deserve it. But if you realize at the core of your being, and there has to be a shift in your perception, that any possibility exists in life, you are worthy to have it. Simply because it exists. And the word enough and not enough are just, as you said, thoughts. At the deepest level, there is nothing called enough and not enough. That word does not exist. I always tell people, imagine in the dictionary that this word never ever existed. Deservance or enoughness, it never existed. What will be your natural feeling? It will be enoughness. It will be deservance. It will be worthiness. Now that's not the way we raise our children. That's not the way we've been raised in culture. We were raised that, no, you're not worthy to have that. Once you awaken from that hypnosis, and what hypnosis is, believing a thought to be true so it becomes your reality. So it's not a thought anymore, it's reality. It's truth with the capital T for the person who's holding that. I have a version of it, you have a version of it, everyone has a version of it. The trick is to be aware. So when that feeling kicks in, I'm not enough, I don't deny it, I say, okay, I have that feeling now. But I'm aware of the illusory nature of that thought, so I can follow what comes from the heart. It's kind of like, as I said, like a blender. It just blinds your eyes from seeing the limitless possibilities you have in life, and it keeps you very stuck in a limited perception.
So we're just talking away here, and if you guys have any questions, just pop them in the comments box below, and we're going to take 5-10 minutes at the end. We're going to get back to everyone personally. Okay, so how did your sort of I am not enough belief express itself in your life? How did it limit you?
Yeah, brilliant question. Now, I'm going to tell you something very simple that anyone can relate to. We're discussing about that. As simple as gears. If you want to go out with, like, it's the same for, like, whatever the situation
Whatever
is.
gender.
Yeah, so it's like, let's say, dating. If you feel you're not enough, you will shrink, you will lose your power, and you will try to impress. Mm-hmm. You cannot impress and truly express at the same time.
Say that again. I love that. That's beautiful.
Actually, that's just coming out. You
that.
can't try to impress, because when you try to impress, you're needy. You want something from outside to fulfill that gap. If you want to truly express, expression comes from a place of generosity. Generosity means wholeness. I don't need anything to fill that gap. I'm whole inside because you exist, not because of your achievement, not because your background, not because what country you're from, not because what your religion you're from. It's because you exist, you're enough. That's it, because you're part of reality. From that place, and me realizing it mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you're gonna bring what I call your highest possible expression. So very simple. We both know if you try to, if you need to gain, let's say, the acceptance from outside, you want to be authentic, right? If you try to gain acceptance from your parents, you won't express yourself truly. But if you're really full from outside and you really don't care what's happening outside, you don't need that seeking, you're not seeking acceptance from outside, what will happen? your true self will flourish. Creativity will start to explode in you in a ways you never know it exists. And that's plus the number one place I work with clients in. I always go to their mind, where do you feel I'm not enough? And usually it's around the area of money. That's where we get that money triggers that feeling the most. I help them to overcome that by realizing it's a thought, realizing it emotionally, and just a deep healing process. It's part of the highest possible expression teaching. Once usually they release that, they always get hit with a new inspiration. What is that inspiration? That's a new possibilities they were looking for themselves because they thought they're not enough to have that.
So, just to kind of clarify, you're saying we all have beliefs, and these beliefs can be imposed upon us, or we can consciously choose them. Most people in life, their beliefs are being imposed upon them, i.e. they've been conditioned over a long period of time. And to really shift those beliefs into more positive and prosperous beliefs so that we can become our highest possible expression or express our most highest self, we need to become, number one, aware of our beliefs.
Exactly.
And then what would be the process after that? You become aware, you look at the belief, you accept the belief is there, and then what's the process to then change that belief?
Perfect question. Actually, I'm gonna answer to the story. It's coming to me right now, if that's okay.
Of course.
So I was working with a client probably for 2 days, and he came to